Good.
Well, as always, when you play a triple option team, I'll start with giving a shout out to that entire crew that came in on Sunday and started their preparation to give us a great look. And Will Adams was our quarterback. We lost to Kyle Bolden that had done it for so long, and it's such a unique thing to time things up and to prepare you. And you go out and play the way you did, especially for us defensively. It's not just because of the scheme. It's not just because of the players. It's because of the preparation. And those guys did a phenomenal job. And so my first most important thing to me is a shout out to those guys, because we wouldn't be where we are. We wouldn't be able to do what we did tonight without the preparation those guys gave us. So kudos to those guys. So obviously a tough one. It always is. That is a hard fought game. I don't think we've ever played them. Maybe one time that it didn't feel like that. And I think coming down the wire, down the stretch, that's a good ball club that always gives us their best. It's difficult. We appreciate what those guys do, but there's a fight in that crew that never quits. But I'm proud of our guys because they're the same. And their backs were against the wall a little this past week with taking a gut punch and what we went through last week, which I think that everybody goes through, but we just have been fortunate not to go through it as much. And you find out a lot more about who you are and what your seniors are like and what your leadership's like when you have weeks like that. So we'll find out what it's like again, because we've got another one coming for us, and it'll be a quick turnaround.
You mentioned Will Adams. There was a lot of other defense guys I saw running scout team. Is that a philosophy? Is that like a strategy?
Well, we know those guys, and attention to detail, what we have them, and sometimes they jump back over, like Will Adams would go from quarterback. Cam, we'd switch up a little bit. He'd have to go and play some free safety for us. So he was kind of like the third free. So we'd have to roll some guys in there and give him an opportunity on the other side. But there's a few guys that would play the slots for us because they, are in there in the film room watching the little pinpoint things. So there's a lot of credit to go around. But we find a way to get us the best look possible, and that's why I think we've been as well prepared playing this game the last few years.
Ben led drives of 87 and 98 yards, I believe. And given the fact that Navy does such a great job controlling the ball, how critical were those two drives?
Huge. He did a phenomenal job, and it's difficult. They do a great job at junking things up and really making it difficult on you to run the football. They make it difficult with their ability to all-out pressure you and really challenge you. And he answered the bell and everything today. And he made some really huge throws. He held on that ball and let things come open. And then the fourth down touchdown to Tyler Scott is gutsy a throw. Not sure I would tell him to do that by any means, but he saw what he saw and pulled it and made a heck of a play on that. Him and Tyler Scott together. So he's done a really, really good job in a difficult situation. You're not going to get as many opportunities at it, and they're going to really challenge you trying to run the football.
You guys talk about that, how you have to value possessions against a team like Navy. I know you would rather have touchdowns than field goals, but to get a pair of field goals early and block one on the other side, I feel like that was significant. It was.
All that stuff is momentum, and we got some red zone stops tonight defensively that were really big for us. Obviously, too early on, the blocked field goal. Obviously, they kicked the field goal. Those were critical. And almost had a third one down there with the fourth down and goal. Some say that the ball came out, but you can't see anything in there. It was a scrum, but that's big for us. And I tell you, he's found his rhythm, and I think he's found his confidence. And he's a weapon for us. Again, we don't want to put him out there as many times. We don't want to kick 42-yard field goals or whatever it was. But not only is he doing a great job there, he's doing a great job obviously in kickoffs too.
How tough is it when the forecast says one thing? Maybe you have to plan for heavy winds and rain, and then you get out here. It's a little gusty, but it felt fine, field level, and no rain at all.
Off and on, and trying to make decisions of what you do, and then you're trying to, where you take the ball, where they take the wind, and was it going to switch? I know this, that the last day and a half it caused a lot of anxiety, not just to me, I'm sure to Coach Gino and the rest of the crew, not really knowing exactly what it's going to be like. Then you watch some of those games a little bit earlier, and you see some of the weather. I think you know, in Chicago or something, you're like, is that what's coming? Is that what we're going to get? And how are we going to adapt and adjust? And you know, fortunate for us, it kind of calmed down a little bit. There were gusts in the first half in particular, and then a little bit in the second half. But for the most part, we were fortunate.
How do you feel the interior of your line did control the dive?
I mean, it's always difficult. And I don't know how many yards they had on the dive play, but I know Dante had like 11 tackles, and I mean, Briggs and Watley and Dominic in there. Those things, that is a unselfish position. Now, I didn't know the guy's going to get 11 tackles, so it's not as unselfish because he's getting some notoriety on that. But it is, it's a constant battle, and that's what gives us a chance to do what we do, especially against the triple option.
How impressive is it, you know, Dante, you weren't maybe even sure how much you'd get out of it this year to start preseason, but he's obviously huge in the game.
No, he is, and he's done a great job, and it's great to have Juwan Briggs in that room with them, because as an elder statesman, is a great leader for those guys. And I don't know if it goes unnoticed yet, but I mean, those other guys who have the ability to roll in there is unique too, because we were able to play 4 guys in there, and to be able to put Watley and Dom Perry in there, just like at the end spots, when you get back to being able to play, you know, legitimately 8 guys, I think you see what you see sometimes later in the fourth quarter, you know, and that's when I think that we had the chance to take over a little bit.
Some bets at right guard for the first time in terms of starting this year. What led to that change?
You know what? He's back. He's healthy, and I think maybe it was a week ago or so. He kind of came in and you know was asking about, hey, when can I get another opportunity? And then you know he had been nursing and really battling his ankle and a lot of things. It's been difficult for him, and you know so we had the opportunity this week to maybe get him in there a little bit more. And so we were rolling those guys, and I think he probably played most of the game. And you know Coop was struggling a little bit. I think just you know being able to stay in there and you know. Injuries and just you know just the nagging stuff, so it gave Mets an opportunity this week to kind of fill in a little bit as Coop was you know dinged up a little bit, and I'm happy and proud of him. And he had a little look on his face in there, and I told him I was going to punch him. I really wouldn't because he's 6 foot 3 pounds. He said I got a lot to clean up. I'm like I'm just so happy that you're out there playing, and you know so I think that could be a big deal for us too.
Big day for Tyler. How impactful is it to have a guy who can take the top of the defense like you can?
I don't know that we got the opportunity for him to take the top off, and I think that's the thing that's Tyler has grown so much in is his ability to not just be the take the top off guy, which we all know that he can do, and he's running those intermediate routes, he's running the comebacks and the things and the out routes and making plays on it, just like the touchdown one, and recognizing the coverage and settling down and Ben throwing it back shoulders. I mean, it's his ability to continue to grow to be not just the track speed guy down the field gives us a lot of options, and is going to make him play this game for a long time.
We don't see Navy run seam routes that way. When Maynard comes into the game and hits that one play, they were deep in their own territory and hits that play. What are you thinking at that point?
It's not exactly something you prepare a lot for, obviously. We obviously work it and things like that, and he throws 2 dimes. He throws a dime on 4th and 5 to a wide receiver down the middle of the field. Then he throws the dime in a coming out situation to a seam route that is a heck of a throw. And we're on a guy. But what I'm proud about is we didn't panic. And in some situations, even like the week before, when the ball moves a little bit, there's a little bit of a panic, and we didn't. We settled down. We just continued to play, and I think that's the difference in the ball game for us.
When you look at a stat sheet and see last week you only ran the ball, I think 14 times. This week you only ran the ball 16 times. Does it be kind of
20?
11, 4, 1?
Maybe what he gave you.
Well, sacks. I'm talking about just straight running plays. Do you twitch a leg that
Yeah, I mean,
want to run the football?
Yeah, I mean, we also have to do what people will give us. We need to get back to running the football. We know that. We need to have that balance. We need to be physical. We need to grind some things out, and I think that's what we gotta get ourselves back to a little bit more. But it doesn't take away from the other things that we can do really well too.
I'm curious where you. I'm sorry, Mark.
Go for it, Joe.
I'm curious for you to see how this team would respond from last week to this week.
It's an interesting one to respond to as well, because it's so unique. That's kind of what had me a little bit on ease this week, is not that they wouldn't respond, not that they don't going to go out there and scratch and claw and fight. They had a great week. But the uniqueness of what it is that we had to face, offensively, with the limited possessions, everything matters, and then defensively with the unique, triple option stuff. But that's what kind of got me, as those guys worked at it, just, their mindset of how they were going to handle this, because it is methodical. You can't get bored doing the things you're going to do. And, so that's really what kind of had me, laying awake a little bit, is not how they would respond, but how they would handle, just the environment of what we had to do to win a football game.
How long into the game do you think that they kind of felt like they got their groove back, or that they handled it the way you wanted?
I think we started off pretty good, but the thing is that's sometimes the thing that we've struggled with. Sometimes we've gotten into a groove. Last week we were really in a pretty good groove defensively at halftime, and and even the third quarter, and then things just happened, and that's where we just kept saying, you can't relax, you can't relax, you can't relax. They're going to make some plays at some point in time. That's what they do, but we can't relax, we can't panic when things like that happen. And I think that's where we took a step.
Is there any benefit, obviously you switch things up defensively, formation-wise for Navy? Is that, talk about guys locking back in, does maybe changing things up defensively help with that process during the week?
Yeah, I've always said that when you go and you play Navy, especially when your preparations for it, it makes you go back to those basics. And not saying we're going to try to schedule them as much leagues and things like that. It's a triple option, but I do and will miss some of those things that say, hey, what we're going to do in spring ball, we're going to spend a day on the triple option. Why? Because it gets you the fundamentals of what you do, and how you play, and how you got to be physical. And then in fall camp, every third night of doing the triple option stuff, because it's so critical. And is it triple option? Yes, but is it really just the focus on the little things, the fundamentals, of not getting bored doing those things?
You talk often about the environment here and the atmosphere the fans create. Nippert returns next week. How much are you excited about that?
It'll be awesome, and we got a quick turnaround for a team that's playing really, really well. I think they'll have 13 days off before they play us, so it's kind of unique. They play on a Saturday, and then they we have a Friday game. So, but it is what it is, right? And we'll go back to work. Excited about the opportunity in front of us.
Any more questions for Coach?
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Luke.
Coach. Congrats.